Okay, Charles, how you doing? All right. So just one thing I wanted to address right up here in your writing. You see, I gave information that was needed, but I feel a company such as this would not have as many guidelines as, let's say, as say a publisher. But I disagree with that. I think that a branding guidelines are branding guidelines regardless of what business the company is in. The branding guidelines are still branding guidelines, so you still have to, show potential use of the logo, the typefaces, what's accepted use, placement, assured clear distance, etc. Regardless of how big, how small the company, it's all a matter of consistency. So it's I don't think it's a reasonable assumption to say that one company would have um, more information on their brand guidelines than another company. That's just not true. I mean, it really just depends on how thorough and consistent a company wishes to be. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump over to the work. Now, one thing I see here is I see right now that this is a combination of your logo mark, and your word mark. So, and I don't recommend presenting that as such. What I would recommend doing is present your logo using this same typeface you used for your word mark, but this right here is your word mark. That stays away and separate from the logo. As far as adding this type to the logo, I would recommend that you do that, but don't add these kind of radio waves. Don't add those to the logo. So in other words, your logo is this: Network Guardian Security without these kind of waves, and then the lock right above, or Network Guardian Security in one line and the lock over on the right hand side. I'm sorry, the left hand side. And then you don't include the radio waves. So that would be, or those kind of waves. You don't include those. You just include the type and the lock. Okay, right now the lock is entirely too big. Its spatial relationship to the type. So again, watch my cursor, something like that. Okay, or again, as I said, lock on the left, and then network Guardian Network Security on one line to the right of that. Okay, so that would be your logo. Then this right here, that's your word mark. That's it right there. And then this is your monogram. So even to bring this a little closer in terms of consistency, what I would recommend is changing the GNS typeface here, exchange it, place it in there on an oblique. So in other words, it's the same typeface as this, but you're setting it on an oblique or an italic. Okay, so then you have, this is your logo with Guardian Network Security without the waves. Okay, this is your word mark without the lock, and then this is your monogram using the same GNS as here as this typeface here set on an oblique. That will really drive home the consistency of the package itself. Okay, as far as the branding guideline goes, right now you're showing this. You're showing, and I just recommended you make those changes. But in your branding style guide here, you want to go over the proper way to present all three of the marks from your branding package: the logo, the word mark, and the monogram. So go through and show how to present it. What is the proper way to present it? So for example, if this is the proper way to present it, that's how you would present it. But you would also show iterations of how not to present the logo, as we see right here. These are the international no signs. So you can't change the color. You can't add gradients. You can't add a different typeface. You can't turn things. You can't rotate things. You can't add color backgrounds. You can't add gradient backgrounds to the type or the background. But what you should do is definitely show an iteration of each of the three pieces on a dark background and then on a white background. So you would have to create a version of this to be seen on a dark background, right? And that would entail using white type. And you do the same thing for all three of the pieces. So, and then you want to show assured clear distance, and that's this right here. This is where you take one letter or a component in the logo itself, and you kind of set it up on the four corners so you can kind of draw this boundary. And what that's saying is that nothing is allowed to get closer to the logo than the distance between this lowercase a and the perimeter of the outside of the logo. Okay, so that's what you want to do with your three pieces too. Decide how close you want other elements to be in proximity to your logo, and establish that. right over here, you got a lot of stuff written. This is a branding style guide, and I would recommend trying to decipher all of this or trying to present this all visually instead of, so in other words, you're saying all assets not be smaller than 1.5 inches or larger than 4 inches when in use for print. So you're saying the logo shouldn't be larger than 4 inches or it shouldn't be smaller than 1.5, but show that. Okay, just show smallest possible size permitted 1.5 inches, and then largest possible size permitted 4 inches. Okay, all right. So and then do your what you can't do, and then just keep working. Just a little bit more thorough, and I think we're there. But my main concern right now is getting those three uh, uh, branding elements solidified. So you've got your logo, the lock with the type, you've got your word mark, the type with the waves, and then you've got your monogram, and that's just the monogram. All right? Any questions at all, please let me know. Thank you.